स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णा प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। न, नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनं हृद्यन्तश्च भद्राणि विधुनोति सुरसताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी सर्वशास्त्रादिपीयूष सर्ववैदिकसत्फल सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैकदृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिद्वन्द्वोतितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते मद एक बंधु मद संगीत मद गुरु मन महादन मन निष्ठारक मन भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अति नीच च ताकर हा ना मुंचा कदाचिन मां प्रेम न हृत कंथयो स्पुरः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। Okay. So thank you all so much for joining. So we are continuing Brahma's prayers for creative energy, chapter number 9 of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we are going to start discussing from text number 14. Right. So we have covered two sections of Brahma's prayers. Right. So the entire chapter starts off with Brahma offering prayers, and the first section he actually glorified the Lord's supreme form, and he actually also mentioned the point about the impersonal Brahman. But he says, "I meditate, I worship only that personal form of the Lord." Why? Because it's the most auspicious form of the Lord. Right? He uses the word. Bhuvana Mangala Mangalya, right? Nice word to remember. Bhuvana Mangala Mangalya. That is actually the most auspicious for all the universes. That is the form of the Lord. And he also made the point that how the Lord is never separated from the hearts of the devotees because the devotees are always hearing Krishna Katha. And from that hearing, when they fill their ears with that Krishna Katha, then they are actually smelling the inside of the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? So hence the Lord is never separated from them. The second part, second section of Brahmaji's prayers is basically he's actually saying that I am so fortunate that I actually got this darshan. But people are actually unfortunate because they do not actually know you. And why do people not know you? Because they are actually in this entire, the cause of their existence here in this entire material existence, entire material world is their misidentification. And because of the misidentification, there is so much anxiety, right? And because they have turned away from these auspicious topics of Krishna Katha, they don't take time to hear Krishna Katha. Hence, they are actually separated from you. They do not know your infinite glories. Right? And hence, Brahmaji is pitying. He's saying all these people are suffering so much. They have insomnia, right? They are working throughout the day so hard. They are working, and night time they cannot even sleep. Why? Because their mind is so active, and they're just thinking, how can I increase my business? How can I increase this? Or this person, this, this politics, all these things. They cannot even sleep at night. And Brahmaji is pitying all these people, right? And then after that, Brahmaji actually further says that those who are, he talks about the how the Lord reciprocates with different devotees, and he makes the point that those who are the demigods, that means they worship the Lord with great pomp, with a lot of paraphernalia, they actually worship the Lord. But if they but because they have some material desires, then the Lord is not so pleased with their prayers. But those who are pure devotees, they actually worship the Lord, and they are actually merciful to all living entities. They give Krishna to others. And because pure devotees are always engaged in giving Krishna to others, hence they become so dear to the Lord. Right? Okay. So that's up to the point we came. Right? Are there any comments or any realizations up to this point?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I really liked how the ears can, taste, see, and all of the different. This one, it was very, very nice.
Yeah, in this verse, thank you, Mataji. In this chapter, we saw how the ears can smell the inside of the lotus feet of the Lord. And second, we talked about how the ears can actually see the Supreme Personality of God again through the process of hearing Hari Katha. Yeah. And particularly here, Brahmaji is actually making the point that you see the form that you desire. The form by which the devotees worship the Lord, that is the form that the Lord reveals to the devotees. So for Prahlad Maharaj, he appears as Lord Narasimhadev. So nice. Okay, any other points?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I was also thinking about Hanuman when he opens his heart. There is Ram Sita in his heart.
Like this verse actually, verse number 11 actually says, Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita Rit Saroja. So the Rit Saroja means like the lotus-like heart of the devotee. The Lord is actually captured or always resides in the lotus-like heart of the devotee. So Hanumanji, when he opened his heart, there was Ram and Sita were right there inside his heart because they were actually captured by the love of Hanumanji. Okay. Any other points, anyone? Okay, so let's continue. So the next section is Brahmaji is actually offering obeisances unto the Lord. And this is the section from text number 14 all the way to text number 21. Right? So 14 to 21 are the obeisances. So first is again glorifying the personal form of the Lord, then pitying the conditioned souls who do not know. Then third is Lord's reciprocation with different devotees. Fourth is the obeisances unto the Lord. Right? So text number 14. So let's start. So one point before we get started, I saw the comment that that devotees would like to chant the Sanskrit. I was thinking that some of the important verses. I'm thinking that Ratnadika can chant the first line, and you all can repeat after her, right? So that way you're doing at least the important verses. And for the other verses, I feel like you all should just everyone should chant the verse, but just do it on mute. You know, you all can still loudly chant the Sanskrit. And if you're not able to get the tune, then you can just follow along how Ratna Radhika is actually chanting, right? But everyone, like every verse, maybe let's try to do that. We actually get the tune and chant. So even on your mute lines, you can actually say it loudly. That way you'll be chanting the shlokas. Okay. Is that okay? Okay. So let's start text number 14.
Shashvat Swarupa Mahishaiva Nipita Bheda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Nama Parasmai Vishvodbhava Stitilayesha Nimitta Lila Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrameshwaraya. Arundhati Mataji, you start.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by his internal potency. His indistinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence per self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto him, who by his pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation.
Okay. Okay, so in this verse, so he's offering obeisances. So first, he actually offers obeisances to, so if you see the Sanskrit, it says Shashvat Swarupa. Swarupa referring to a transcendental form. And Shashvat means eternally present, right? So, right. So first is Shashvat Swarupa Mahasa, right? So basically he's offering obeisances, or he's saying glories to that eternal transcendental form of the Lord, right? And then first, you can say point 1 here is Eva Nipita, which is certainly distinguished by his actually internal potency. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving one explanation to this verse, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives slightly different meaning to this verse, but we'll see how Prabhupada has offered. So first point is Brahmaji offering obeisances to the eternally transcendental form of the Lord, and is certainly distinguished by his internal potency. That's the first thing. And second, I also offer obeisances to Mohaya. Moha means illusion, right? Mohaya Bodha Nishanaya, right? The indistinguishable impersonal feature, which is realized by intelligence for self-realization. What does this mean? That he is also offering obeisances to the Brahmajyoti, right? Which is actually worshipped by the Gyanis. So second part is he is also offering obeisances to the Brahmajyoti, which is the indistinguishable impersonal feature of the Lord, right? That's the second part, right? Namaha Parasmai Aya. And then the third part is I offer obeisances to Parasmai, unto the transcendence. And here particularly he says Vishwa Udbhava Stiti Layeshu, right? That form which actually is in charge of the creation, maintenance, destruction, and Leela Rasaya. Leela Rasaya means by his pastimes. He actually enjoys by his pastime. So third obeisances is to that form of the Lord who is actually in charge of the creation, maintenance, and dissolution, and who actually does all this as a Leela, as a pastime, right? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually explaining, just like Krishna, he enjoys Ras Leela with his gopis. Right? That is the highest pastime of Krishna, is enjoying Ras Leela with the gopis. Similarly, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is enjoying Ras Leela. And what is that Ras Leela of Garbhodakshay Vishnu? Is this pastime of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And Brahma is actually offering obeisances to that aspect. Right? Right. So, okay, so is this okay? So three aspects of obeisance are there here, right? First aspect of obeisances is to the form of the Lord, the eternal transcendental form of the Lord. And what does this mean? That it is certainly distinguished by his internal potency. Can anyone say why does this actually stress on the point, certainly distinguished by his internal potency?
Maybe because the living entities are covered by the illusory energy, and Krishna's distinct because he's above the illusory energy. He's in the internal potency.
Okay, okay. Yeah, eternally distinguished. So he is actually separate from all the living entities because we are actually, we have the tendency to be conditioned by the external energy of the Lord, but Lord is actually always in his internal potency, right? So that's the point. And then also, Prabhupada is saying that how the Lord is understood in his impersonal feature by self-realized intelligence. What does this mean, self-realized intelligence? That's actually referring to the Gyanis. The Gyanis, their conception of the Lord is actually what? That of the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord. Right? So hence, Brahmaji is actually offering obeisances to that aspect of the Lord also. Okay, so Prabhupada actually makes the point that Prabhupada in purpose says, devotees of the Lord therefore offer all respectful obeisance unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. Right? And then Prabhupada talks about the word rasa. Rasa is significant because how Krishna actually enjoyed Ras Leela with the gopis. Similarly, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is also enjoying Ras Leela. But how is he doing that? With his external potency. Right? So you remember this point that how at the time of creation, Lord was actually thinking what? That yes, I have so many of my different consorts, but I have actually not relished with this external energy. This one consort, which is the external potency of the Lord. I have not relished with her. So hence he actually relishes with that external potency. And how does he relish? Directly or indirectly?
Indirectly through Shambhu.
Just he glances upon that aspect and through that he actually relishes. So this is also the Leela of the Lord, right? This is also the Leela of the Lord. Okay. Okay. So this is the three aspects that the Lord is actually, Brahmaji is offering obeisances to. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur again in this commentary makes the point that how Brahma's life is divided into two prarabdhas, right? 250-year periods. And in the second prarabdha, first day of the second prarabdha, when Brahmaji actually he wakes up and he does his tapa, he actually sees Krishna as a cowherd boy. So here, when he actually talking of rasa, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that he is actually offering obeisances to Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as a cowherd boy enjoying Ras Leela with the gopis. So that's the point that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually mentions. Okay, so next go to verse number 15.
Yasyavatara gunakarma vidambanani namani yesu vigame vivasha grinanti tenaika janma shamalam sahasaiva hitva samyantya pavritamritam tamajam prapadye.
Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him, whose incarnations, qualities, and activities are mysterious, imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names, even unconsciously, at the time he quits his life, is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births, and attains him without fail.
Okay. So here, very nice verse. Actually, this is actually glorifying the holy name of the Lord. Namani it says, right? Holy name of the Lord. So what does it say? Who's Yasya Avatara? Avatara referring to different incarnations of the Lord. Then Guna, right? Yasya Guna. Guna means transcendental qualities of the Lord. Karma, activities. So all the incarnations, the qualities, and the activities, right, are actually what? Vidambanani. Vidambanani means they are actually very mysterious, right? Why are they mysterious? Why are the Lord's activities mysterious? Because one way they actually appear like imitations of the worldly affairs. And the Lord is actually beyond all this material world. But why all his activities appear like imitations of this worldly affairs? So hence it's very bewildering, right? How even Queen Kunti uses the same word. Vidam banani. What does she say? All your activities are very bewildering. Why? What is the point Queen Kunti says the activities are bewildering? Anyone remembers that point? She gives many points to actually say, oh, your activities are so bewildering to me in Queen Kunti's prayers.
When she talks about Yashoda.
Yeah, so that is one main point that she actually says that, fear personified is actually afraid of you. But you actually appear fearful when you are actually being chased by Mother Yashoda. And this pastime is very bewildering to me. How can the Supreme Personality of Godhead be fearful? Right? So that's one. And then she also says how the unborn is actually taking birth. Right? How can we understand? So his activities, his incarnations, his qualities, they are all Vidambanani. They are all mysterious. Then further he says, Namani, these names, okay, so names of all these activities, and Prabhupada mentioned how Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. Did he have to lift Govardhan Hill to protect his devotees of Vrindavan? Actually, one way he could have just, looked at Indra and just like blew him away. I mean, the Lord does not have to lift Govardhan Hill to protect the residents. But he does these activities. Why? Because when he does these activities, then he gets the name what? Giridhari. The Lord is Giridhari or Govardhandhari. And when he actually gets all these names because of activities, and then if anyone chants these names, Namani Vivashaha, not also like not chanting these names with so much devotion, but even if someone chants this name Vivashaha means unconsciously. Even someone chants this name unconsciously, then what happens? Grinati, right? Okay, particularly Grinati Asu Vigame, while quitting his body unconsciously, if he chants the name, then what does he say? Anaika Janma Shamala. Anaika Janma means many, many births. Shamalam means all the sins which are accumulated over many births. What happens? Sahasa Eva. Certainly they are immediately washed away. Immediately washed away. Right? And then further he actually says, Ritam Apavritam. And he soon attains the Lord's form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss without any coverings. Apavritam. Right? Therefore, Prapadit. Therefore, I take shelter of this Lord. Right? So, such a beautiful verse. So, he's saying that even if someone accidentally chants your holy name at the time of death, right? For that person, so many lifetime sinful reactions are washed away. So, are washed away. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto this Supreme Personality of Godhead who is so merciful. Why is he doing all these activities? So that someone may see his activities and just call, oh Giridhari, oh Govardhandhari. And just by that, that's it. He'll actually, all his sins will be washed away, and very soon he'll actually attain the shelter of the form of the Lord, which is full of it, which is a form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Okay, who can we remember when we read this pastime?
Ajam.
Ajamil, right? Exactly. So this verse is one way referring to Ajamil, where he's saying that Ajamil, even Vivashaha, unconsciously he chanted the name Narayan, right? And that's it. That was enough for actually stopping all the Yamadutas to actually take his body, even though he has committed so many sinful activities. And immediately the Vishnudutas came. And in that conversation, the Yamadutas asked, that he has done so much sinful activities. And we don't see any atonement he has done. Okay, if a person does a lot of sinful activities, then if there is a process of atonement, then the Yamaduta say, okay, he did, but he atoned. Okay, it's balanced up. Right? But he did all these sins, but we don't see any atonement. So how can you stop us from taking him? Right? And then what does the Vishnuduta say? That even by once chanting the name of Narayan at the time of death, he is actually burnt away the reactions of so many sinful activities. Actually, they make the point that even more sinful activities than a person can commit, all those are washed away just by that one name of Narayan. So he has atoned it. he has already done all his atonement. Hence, you have no right over his word. Right. So this verse. So this is actually when we read this verse, we can think how merciful the Lord is. That just by chanting his name, not with devotion, just like one just says Hare Krishna, that's it. So many lifetimes of sinful reactions are washed away. Okay. So here Brahmaji is announcing the greatness of the Lord's highest mercy by giving his abode even to those people who are like animals, who are just like once they chant Namabhas. Hence Brahma surrenders to this Lord. Right? See, there's the other verse that we read, right? How can Aho Bakiyam Aho Bakiyam Sanakalakutam, right? So that verse where Uddhav is actually saying, who can be more merciful than this Lord, who actually gave the position of a nurse to a Putana who came with the intention to kill Krishna, right? And here Brahmaji is again another same mood that who can be more merciful than this Lord? Even once by chanting his name unconsciously, the Lord is actually taking away all our sinful reactions, right? Okay. So Prabhupada in the purport, he actually says, first he talks about how the activities of the Lord, they are kind of imitation of the activities of this world. Right? And he says, just like someone, when you do a drama, right? Someone may be the king on a stage, but he's just acting. Similarly, the Lord is actually playing the role like that. The actor imitates activities of a king on a stage. Similarly, the Lord, he actually has nothing to do. Right? Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, what does he say in 4th chapter? Na mam karmani limpanti. I have actually no activities to do. But still, what does the Lord do? He does so many activities. And why does he do all those activities? And the point I already mentioned, that when he does each activity, right, when he actually runs away from the battlefield, then he is called what? Ranchor. Right? And then people actually say, oh, see, Krishna, he is actually afraid of Jarasan and he ran away from the battle, and hence they glorify Ranchor. And as soon as they say Ranchor, that's it. All sinful reactions are washed away and one will come close to the Lord. So how merciful this Lord is. How merciful the Lord is, right? Okay. Right. So Prabhupada makes a point that he talks of the Govardhan Leela and how the Lord is called Govardhan Dhari. And even chanting the name unconsciously, we get so much benefit. And also the Lord gives a subject matter to hear, talk about, and discuss. Right? And when the Lord lives Govardhan Hill, then it's a pastime that we can read, hear about again and again and again. Right? Even children love to talk about. Oh, see, Krishna with his little finger, he lifted Govardhan Hill. Right? So he's giving a subject matter for all of us to hear and talk about. Right? And when we actually hear and talk about all these pastimes, then we are actually that's actually the secret of going back home, back to Godhead. We remember the Lord, and by that we'll actually develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Okay, text 16.
Yo va aham cha girishascha vibhu swayam cha stityudbhava pralaya hetava atma moolam Bhitva tripad pavrita eka uru prarohas tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Your worship is the prime root of the tree of the plenary systems. This tree is grown by first penetrating the material nature in 3 trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we 3 have grown with many branches. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of the cosmic manifestation.
Right. Okay. So in this verse, what is he offering obeisances to? So here he says, Ekaha, that one Lord, he grew, Vavriddha. He grew into what? 3. Tripat. Tripat means 3. Right? The one Lord grew into 3 trunks. And who are the 3 trunks? And he says, Aham. Aham, he actually refers to Brahma. Brahma is actually saying this, right? So the Lord grew into Aham. Then Girishaha. Girisha is the name of Lord Shiva. Like Girisha, Lord Shiva. And then Vibhuhu. And then he says Swayam. Swayam Vibhuhu. That refers to the Lord himself. And particularly Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually referring, he indicates the word Swayam with Vibhuhu to actually show that this Lord is actually different from Brahma and Shiva. So Prabhupada makes a point that Brahma and Shiva may be as powerful as the Lord. No, Brahma and Shiva are actually very, very powerful, but they cannot be as powerful as the Lord because they actually are maybe influenced by the modes that they control, but Lord Vishnu is never actually contaminated by the modes that he actually controls. So that's the word Swayam Vibhuhu, right? Then for the purpose of, so why does the Lord, that Ekaha Lord, Vavriddha grows into three branches, Aham, Girisha and Vibhuhu, for the purpose of Shishti, Udbhaha and Pralaya. Shishti means maintenance, Udbhaha means creation and Pralaya means destruction. For these three purposes, for creation, maintenance and dissolution, the Lord is actually expanding into three trunks, right? And then further he says, Uru Praroha. That means that from three trunks, then he grows into many, many branches. And what are the branches? So first we talk of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, right? Three trunks. But from that, there are other branches. And who are the branches? That could be the Prajapatis, the Manus, all the other personalities, right? So they are Maricha, etc. Right? So they are all the branches. Okay. And then also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur could say, and Prabhupada mentions this point in the purport, that the three branches could also refer to, like we talked of the three, right? There are so many threes. And he said the three branches could also refer to the upper planetary systems, middle planetary systems, and the lower planetary systems. Right? So those are three trunks. And what are the branches then? The branches would be the 14 planetary systems. Right? So even it could be considered as the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems, and those actually are expanded into 14 planetary systems. Right? And then further is therefore it says Tasmai Namah Bhagavate, right? Tasmai Namah, like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva, similar. Tasmai Namah Bhagavate, I offer obeisance unto him, who is Bhuvana Dhrumaya, who is actually the tree of the planetary system or the tree of the entire cosmic manifestation. Right? The Lord is the tree of the entire cosmic manifestation. Therefore, Brahma is offering respects to that. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he also makes one more point here. And he says that hence, because the Lord himself is actually expanding to do the task of creation, maintenance and destruction, therefore all the elements starting from the Pradhan, Mahatattva and all the demigods and everyone, they should actually offer obeisances to the Lord because he is the original tree of everything or original root of everything. Right? Everyone should actually offer obeisances unto him. Okay. So Prabhupada says he is the supreme root of everything. So he starts off by talking of the three worlds, upper, lower, and middle planetary systems, and then 14 planetary systems. Okay. Okay. And Prabhupada, I mentioned the point already, how Brahma and Vishnu, Shiva, they are greatly powerful, but they actually are within the control of the material Lord. But the Vishnu is actually referred as Swayam because he is not controlled by the laws of material nature. Okay. And then Prabhupada also makes the point that the impersonalists did not believe in personal management, but actually everything is personal. Right? We have been reading in the creation and we see that every aspect of this universe is actually controlled by a person. Even the wind, the sun, the air, everything, whether it's raining, it is extremely hot, everything is actually controlled by a person. We actually understand of a personal management system, not an impersonal management system. Yes, everything is coming from Vishnu, but everything is actually personified. Different people are managing different aspects of this creation. And also, when we talk of a tree, what can we think about from Bhagavad Gita? What comes to our mind when you talk of tree?
Banyan tree.
15th chapter.
15th chapter, right? So Prabhupada mentions that how in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it's called a Ashwatha tree, a banyan tree. That's a tree of creation. And the reflection of that reality is actually this entire material world. So Prabhupada says that the reflection cannot exist without the source. Right? If there is no source, then there will be no reflection in the water. Right? So similarly, this material world, existence of the material world means that there is a source, the spiritual world. Right? And there are people who are controlling, and people who are coming from Vishnu who are controlling different aspects of this material nature. Okay, that's the third one. Let's go to the fourth verse. Yeah. Text 17.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramata karmanyayam tvad udite bavad archane sve yastavadasya balavan iha jivitasham sadyaschinat yanimi shaya namostuna tasmai.
Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities in unseated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Hare Krishna.
Mhm. Okay. So, in this verse, what is Brahma offering obeisances to? He's actually offering obeisances to the time factor, right? And why is he offering obeisances to the time factor? And he says, Lokaha, Lokaha means people in general, they are engaged in what? Vikarma, right? Bhagavad Gita talks of karma, akarma, and vikarma, right? They are engaged in vikarma. Vikarma, and he says, nirataha kushale pramata karma. They are engaged in vikarmic activities, that is, activities which are against the Shastric injunction, and hence they are negligent of kushale. Kushale is the beneficial activity. Because they are engaged in so much vikarmic activities, they do not know what is actually their real benefit, kushale, right? What is really beneficial for them, right? And then further he says, Tvat udite bhavat archane swe. And what is the beneficial activity for all living entities? What is the beneficial activities for all living entities?
Devotional service.
The devotional service, and here particularly, like in these verses, we'll see Brahma is talking of Archana. Archana means worshipping the Supreme Personality of God, right? So here what the word he uses, Tvat udite bhavat archane sve. Archane referring to worshipping the Lord. So because they are engaged in so much vikarma activities, they are actually not doing what is beneficial to them, which is actually Archana, right? Okay. Then Tavat, like last time we discussed verses with Tavat, Yavat, right? So again we see Tavat. Tavat, as long as Asya Balavan, Iha, right? Balavan, as long as people are very strong in this tendency to continue their vikarmic activities, then what happens? Jivita Asam. They will actually struggle for existence, and then all their plans for struggle for existence, what will happen? Sadhya Chinnati. Chinnati means cut, right? They will be actually, all their plans for in this material world will be cut to pieces, all because of your eternal time. Animishaya. Animishaya means eternal time. So, as long as people are holding on to this vikarmic activities, not knowing that their true beneficial activity is to actually do archana or worshiping the Lord, right? As long as they do not know, then all their plans will actually be cut to pieces by the time, right? And further, in the next verse, Brahma is actually saying that even though I live for two prarabdhas, such a long time, still I fear your time factor, and hence I am offering obeisances to your time factor. Okay, so this is this verse, and the next verse he actually offers obeisances to the time factor. Okay, and we see that, right? This is very practical, right? People make so many plans in this material world. Right? I'll have a big house next to the beach, next to the water, right? I'll get this, I'll earn $1 million, I'll do this, I'll do this. And they have a long list of plans. But by the time factor, just cut everything away. Right? Everything is taken away by the time factor. And hence Brahma is saying, this time factor is actually your own energy. Krishna says what? Kalos me. I am that time factor. I am Kal. And by that, you'll take away everything. Right? Hence, the Lord. So what does this actually mean? Hence, we should actually think about what is our true beneficial activity, right? Which is actually Archana, offering Archana to the Lord. Right? Now, but in this purport, Prabhupada actually quotes the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. So if you see, this is 7.5.30. This is actually not exactly the prayers. Prayers come later, but this is actually what Prahlad Maharaj says to Hiranyakashipu. And these are very famous verses. Prabhupada often quotes these verses in his classes. Right? Materna Krishna parata svatova mitopi badyate griha vritanam adanta gobir vishatam tamishram puna puna charvita charvananam. Right? And what is this? Where simply people are simply chewing the chewed, right? Chewing the chewed, and hence they are actually matirna Krishna parata Matirna Krishna Parata Swatova. Right? So basically he's saying that Bharat Maharaj is saying that their inclination for Krishna, their remembrance of Krishna will actually parata from the instructions of others, swataha from their own understanding, mitaha or combined effort of both will actually not come about for those people who are griha vritana. Right? So why is Prabhupada quoting this verse here? Because the same verse is actually making the point that those who are engaged in vicious activities, they will never do archana. Because they are so strongly determined to engage in vicious activities, they will actually not do archana, right? Vikarma activities. So similarly here, Prahlad Maharaj is making the same point. Those who are griha vritanam, they are too addicted to the materialistic bodily concept of life. And adanta gobi. Adanta gobi means what? Uncontrolled senses. Right? And because of uncontrolled senses, Vishatam Tamishram, they are actually entering hellish life. Right? Hellish life. And Puna Charvita Charpananam. They are again and again just chewing what has already been chewed. And just to get that little sense gratification, they continue to engage in vikarma activities. Right? And then further he says what? Nate vidu swartha gatimi Vishnu. Right? And why? Because they do not know what is the real swartha gati. So even in this verse he says, people do not know what is the kushala, right? What is really beneficial for them, which is archana. So here people do not know swartha gatim, right? Which is Vishnu. Durashaya hi bahir arthamanina, right? Because they are ambitious, durashaya, to enjoy this material world, external senses, bahir artha, external senses. The anda yathandir upaniyamana, right? It is just like the blind man following another blind man, and tepi shutantram urad dhamni padda, and hence they are actually tied very strongly with the ropes of this material world. Right? And the third verse, Naisha matis tavat urukrangrim sprishasti anartha gamo yad artha mahiyasham pado rajo bhishaikam nishkinchananam na prinita yavat. Right? Again, yavat. As long as they do not get what? Mahiyasham pado rajo bhishekam. What is that? You have to get abhishek. Unless you get abhishek done, you cannot actually realize what is your swarthagati. And what is that abhishek made of? Mahiyasham. Mahiyasham means the great souls or the devotees. Pada rajaha. Unless we actually get the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotees, we cannot actually understand Matirna Krishna Paratasa. We cannot actually understand what is the real beneficial work for each one of us. We will continue to actually puna charvita charana. We'll continue our vikarma activities until we get the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotees. Hence, Prabhupada, he concludes this purport and he says, the conclusion is only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Only devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Right? So only the devotees have a chance. Why? Because they have actually taken the dust of the lotus feet of another devotee. Right? So only they are actually the hope for everyone else. Otherwise, their cycle of Puna Puna Charvita Charvana will keep going on and on and on, and will continue their vikarma activities. Right? Hence, the Lord is actually Brahmaji is offering obeisances to the vikarma, to the time factor. Now, one may say, why is the Brahmaji offering obeisance to time factor? Okay, we understand that time factor is going to destroy the plans of materialistic, but why should we offer obeisances to the time factor?
Because time factor is also Krishna himself.
Okay, that point is there. Time factor is Krishna, but further, why?
Maybe he's praying to give him the strength over the period he's going to create.
Okay. Okay. See, it is only because of the time factor that a person has the opportunity to realize that everything I'm working for can be taken away from me in a moment. So even that energy of the Lord as a time factor is actually a way that living entities can realize that I'm working so hard, but any moment, one car accident and it's all taken away. Why am I working so hard? So even that time factor, which is the energy of the Lord, should actually make the living entities think about their life and actually turn to Krishna. And Brahmaji is actually offering obeisances to that time factor, because even that time factor can actually help the conditioned souls to actually come to maybe a devotee and ask, everything I'm doing, it's like, is it really worth it? Please tell me what is my real, and then a conditioned soul may turn to devotees because of this time factor. Hence, Brahma offers obeisances to the time factor. Okay. 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 Next verse, text number 18.
Prabhuji, one question here, Prabhu. In the purport, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord asks everyone to give up all other occupational duties and absolutely engage in archana activities. Prabhuji, how can we understand this, Prabhu? It's referring to archana. It's only archana like the deity worship, or is that the meaning?
I mean, Archana here in general means worshipping the Lord. And any form of worship is actually called Archana.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even deity worship is, like as soon as, yes, when we hear, okay, so we start with what? Shravanam Kirtana, right? As soon as we hear the glories of the Lord, the glories of the form of the Lord, then naturally we want to see the Lord. And we want to see the Lord, we want to serve the Lord. And anything that we do service to the Lord is Archana. Is Archana. So Archana is something that is a sequence of just hearing of the Lord, and you want to see Him and you want to serve Him. And Divyanita Leela Mataji is making the point on the chat. See, Madhyaji, right? Manvana Bhava Mad Bhakto, Madhyaji. When you say offering obeisances to the Lord, that is also an aspect of Archana. That's a nice point. As soon as we offer obeisances to the Lord, that's all Archana. We are worshipping the Lord. Right? So,
Yeah, and Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and it says like samay, time is like samay. It says like समय बलवान है नहीं वो काबे अर्जुन लौटिए वही धनुष वही बाण वही बोलते हैं ना टाइम इज इम्पोर्टेंट
yeah, time is taking away everything. Brahmaji is saying time will destroy all the plans of conditioned living entities. Okay. Next 18.
Yasmad vipemyaham api dviparardadishnyam adyasita sakala lokana miskritam yat te petapo bahusavo vararuta samanas tasmai namo bhagavate bhimakaya tubhyam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are indefatigable, time and enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 paradhas, although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe, and although I have undergone many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji is actually making the point, Yasmat Bhibhame, that even I fear this time factor of yours. In particular word Prabhupada says, indefatigable, right? The time factor that no one can actually defeat, right? No one can defeat the time factor, right? Even though I, Brahmaji, aham, dviprarabdha, right? Dishtam adhyasitaha. I live for 2 prarabdhas, right? And how much is the period of 2 prarabdhas? It is 4.3 billion multiplied by 2 multiplied by 30, right? 30 days in a month, multiplied by 12 months, multiplied by 100. That is the lifespan of Brahma, which actually comes to 311 trillion years. So even though Brahma has a lifespan of 311 trillion years, because he is actually making the point that even though I have such a long lifespan, and Sakala Loka Namaskritam, I am the leader of all the planets in the universe. All the other planetary systems, the leaders, they offer obeisances to me. Even though I am so great. And then Tepe Tapaha Bahusaha Ava Rutsamanha. I underwent penances for many years, desiring to obtain you. Yet, in spite of all these qualifications, I fear time, because even Brahmaji knows that I cannot control time. I am controlled by time, and one point, even I have to die. Right? And hence, I offer obeisances to you in this time factor. And Prabhupada actually makes a point that even Brahma, who is so qualified, who has a lifespan of 311 trillion years, he is actually saying that I cannot control time. Even I am going to die. I offer obeisances. Hence, everyone below Brahma should actually offer obeisances to the Lord. Okay. So, Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam, I offer obeisances to you, who is Adhi Makhaya, who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Right. So Prabhupada says, Brahma, the greatest personality, the most respectable personality, still offers obeisances. Therefore, everyone far below Brahma should offer obeisances to Krishna and this time factor as a time factor. Right? Okay. Right. So Brahma is thinking that I could bring time under control by sacrifice to you, who are the controller of all the sacrifices, but I am controlled by time, and even now I fear time. Without pure bhakti, time cannot be conquered. By pure bhakti, time can be conquered? How is that?
We break the cycle of birth and death. So
Okay, break the cycle of birth and death. Okay. And then beyond that?
He is not dependent on time,
yeah,
right?
then there's no time factor after that.
Okay. Yeah. So we break the cycle of birth and death, we enter into a spiritual reality, and then there is no it's eternal concept. There is no as such time factor. But beyond that, good.
We are in eternal service of Krishna.
Like what did we hear before? Ayur Harati Vaipumsam. Right? It actually says both for those who are actually in this material world, those who are not hearing Harikatha, then by the rising and the setting of the sun, their lifespan is taken. For everyone except those who are actually hearing Harikatha. Because when we hear Harikatha, when we serve the Lord, that activity itself, even though we are in this material world, we are actually engaged in our eternal constitutional duty of service to the Lord. Right? Hence, there is no time, right? We are doing our eternal seva. So why concept of time? Externally, some changes may happen, but we are actually engaged in our eternal service to the Lord. So when you are hearing Harikatha, it is as if time has stopped, right? Okay. Then text 19.
Tiryan Manushya Vibudhadishu Jiva Yonishu Atme Chayatma Drita Setu Paripsayaya Reme Nirasta Vishayopyavarudha Dehas Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Purushottamaya.
Hare Krishna. O my Lord, by your own will, you appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than the human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligation of your own principles of religion. And therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. Okay. So here, what does he offer obeisances to? He says the Lord appears in Tiryak, right? Tiryak. What does Tiryak mean? Animals lower than human beings. So how does the Lord appear in animals lower than human beings? Like
Matsya, Kurma, Varaha.
Varaha, all those, right? So Tiryak, then Manusya, right? In the human-like forms, like what? Lord Ramchandra, etc. Then Vibhuda Adishu, then demigods. So it says Jiva Yonishu. The Lord appears in all these different species of life, right? And how does he appear? Atma Ichchaya. Atma Ichchaya, by his own self free will, he actually appears, right? And also his Atma Krit, like when he actually takes the form of Lord Narasimhadev, it's not that someone has designed or painted the form and say, okay, Lord, come in this. He's actually coming out of his own, his self-created form and his self-will. Right? He's actually taking all these forms. And then why does he take all these forms? Paripsaya. Paripsaya means desiring to preserve and protect. Right? Like yada yada hi dharmasya, paritanaya sadhuna, right? Etc. So desiring to preserve and protect, paripsaya, Reme, he actually performs all these transcendental pastimes. And all these pastimes are what? Nirasta Vishaya. Nirasta Vishaya means it is actually free from all material contamination. That means what? When the Lord comes as a Matsya avatar or Varaha avatar, he is not affected by like Varaha, like a boar incarnation. He is not affected by the conditioning of a boar. He is above all this. Even though he may appear in lower species, he is still Sadeshwara Purna. He is the all complete Lord, right? Hence he is Nirasta Vishaya. And then Avaruddha Deha. Avaruddha Deha. So this word Avaruddha Deha means actually Avaruddha means uncovered. Uncovered from what? That means he is not covered by the modes of material nature, even though he may appear as Varaha, Matsya, etc. Right? That means even though he may appear in lower species, his body is still Satchidananda Vigraha. Or another form of Avaruddha is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining. So it's so interesting, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because we are in that day of Brahma, where Brahma, when he actually woke up in the morning and performed penance, who did he see? He actually saw Shyam Sundar Krishna. He saw the cowherd boy. Hence, all these verses, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually seeing the meaning, the word, to indicate that, oh, this actually indicates Krishna as the cowherd boy. Brajendra Nandana Krishna, right? So when he says Avaruddha, Avaruddha means uncovered body. That means body of Satchidananda. But another meaning of Avaruddha is restricted. Why is Krishna's form restricted? And he says, when Mother Yashoda is tying Krishna in Damodar Lila, then his form is restricted. So this Avaruddha Deha means the Lord who is actually will be tied by Mother Yashoda and hence his form will be restricted. Right? To actually make the point how the Lord is actually controlled by the desires of his devotees. So hence he makes this point, Avaruddha Deha. Right? Then therefore, again same, Tasmai Namo Bhagavate. Therefore, I offer obeisances to the Lord and Purushottamaya. Purushottamaya means who is actually the supreme Purusha, right? Or he is the primary Lord, he is superior to all the Purusha avatars, all the incarnations, that supreme personality of Lord Krishna. Right? So here in this verse, he is actually offering obeisances to the Lord, who actually appears in different incarnations, yet has a transcendental body. And how does he appear? His forms are Atma Ichaya, it is out of his own self-will, and Atma Krit, it is self-created. He is appearing to preserve and to perform transcendental pastimes which are not affected by material contamination. Therefore, I offer obeisances to him. Right? Now, in this verse, in the purport, Prabhupada actually makes the point. Yeah. So we covered the points in the purport. Basically, Prabhupada is saying they are transcendental forms of the Lord and manifested under certain necessities for his own pleasure and pastimes. So all the forms of the Lord, he just appears for his own pleasure and pastimes. Okay. Text number 20.
Yo vidyayanu darsardavritya nidram uvaha jaltari kritalokayatraha antarjale hitashipu sparshanukulam bhimor mimalini janasya sukam vivrinvan.
Okay, who's next?
Pratana.
My lord, you accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation, where there are violent waves, and you enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen. Thank
Mhm. Okay. So here, like actually in this verse 20 and 21, he's specifically offering obeisances to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Right? So what does this verse say? He says, Ya avidyaya anupataha, without being affected by avidya, right? And particularly he says dasha ardha. Dasha means what? 10. Ardha means half. Half of 10. What is that? 5, right? So 5 vritaya interactions. So even though the Lord is actually not affected by these 5 kinds of functions of ignorance which actually cause sleep. And what are those 5 causes of 5 functions of ignorance that cause sleep? Anyone knows? Okay, that will come later in the next chapter where Brahmaji actually, when he starts creating, he actually creates 5 aspects of ignorance like tamaha, moha, mahamoha, tamishram, and under tamishram. Right? So this comes in the next chapter. But basically, all these actually induce sleep. But is the Lord sleeping because of these? No, the Lord is not sleeping because of this, right? So hence he actually says, yet avidya anupata, without being influenced by these 5 kinds of ignorance, yet you're sleeping, right? Yet you're sleeping. And where are you sleeping? Antajalehe, right? Within the water of devastation. And which is the bed that the Lord sleeps on? Right? Is it one of these there's so many mattress companies, right? I couldn't think of a name right now. Is there one of the beds that the Lord sleeps on? No.
Anandashesha.
He sleeps on Antarjale and then Ahi Kashipu. Ahi Kashipu means on the snake bed. Right? He sleeps on the snake bed and Sparsha Anukulam. He's happy by the touch. And in spite of Bhima Urmi, there are violent waves all around the Lord. Right? Imagine who would sleep in such a way. He's sleeping on a snake. Would anyone think of sleeping on a snake? A snake itself is like as soon as you think of snake, it's like fear. You run away from a snake. But the Lord is sleeping on a snake. And not only that, around him, what is that? The waters of devastation. And Brahmaji, Brahmaji himself, he is actually fearful just seeing all these water of devastation. And the Lord is comfortably sleeping. on that snake, are surrounded by the violent waves of this water of devastation, right? So, and then another point is Uvaha Jatari Krita Loka Yatra. Not only he's sleeping, but while he's sleeping, what has happened? All the living entities are in his stomach. When we sleep, we may have some food in our stomach. But for the Lord, when he's sleeping, all living entities are actually residing in his abdomen. So see the sleep of the Lord, right? He's not affected by any kind of ignorance. He's sleeping on a snake. He's surrounded by all this violent water. And he's accepted all living entities in his abdomen, right? And then Malini Janasya Sukham Vivana. And he's showing, right? He's showing his happiness to the unintelligent, to the intelligent person, right? So the last one, Janasya, Prabhupada says, of the intelligent person. So he's actually showing everyone that this is how he is actually different from any living entity in this material world. How he can sleep on a snake, right? So who except the Lord can actually sleep in such a situation? It is only the Lord. Right? Okay. So how Prabhupada makes a point that he says, like, if someone says, okay, I am God, I am Krishna, then you should challenge him and tell him, okay, if you are Krishna, show your Virat Rupa. From this verse, you can say, okay, if you're Krishna, can you lie on a snake in the water of devastation? And still be happy and not be affected by ignorance? No, only the Lord can actually do that. Right? Therefore, an intelligent person should see the happiness of the Lord as transcendental to all material conditions. The Lord is always self-satisfied. He is no one of this material world. He is actually beyond all this material world. Nitya Nityana Chaitansya. Of all the Nitya, he is the one supreme eternal. Right? And then Prabhupada in the purport, like, this has come last chapter also many times. Prabhupada in the purport. Persons who cannot think of anything beyond the limit of their own power are like frogs in the well. Prabhupada really likes this Dr. Frog analogy, right? Are frogs in the well who cannot imagine the length and breadth of the great Pacific Ocean. So when people hear that, who is your Lord? Like people may come and say, oh, I see you're very religious. You're chanting the names of Lord. You're following a very strict lifestyle. Who is your Lord? And you can say, our Lord, he sleeps on a snake in the violent water. And when people hear such things, that your Lord is sleeping on a snake, then they say, oh, that is just legendary. Prabhupada said, such people take it as legendary when they hear that the Lord is sleeping on a bed made of snake. Right? They are surprised. How can someone sleep like this? But they, with a little intelligence, right? With a little intelligence, a person can think, like, aren't there so many aquatics in the ocean who are happily living? Even in the aquatics, they have fish, and then fish family, and then a girlfriend fish, and then wife fish, and then all the children fish. They have all this. It's all there within the ocean. Then why can't the Lord, who is the supreme of all this, lie on a snake bed and still be happily situated? Right? That's the point Prabhupada says, right? So hence the Lord is able to do everything and anything without being deterred by the limitations of time and space. Right? Okay. 21, then we'll take a break. So, okay, go ahead, 21.
Yana vipadma bhavanadahama samidya loka trayopakarano yadanugrahena tasmai namasta udarasta bhavaya yoga nidravasana vikasannaline kshanaya. O object of my worship, I am born from the house of your lotus navel for the purpose of creating the universe by your mercy. All these planets of the universe were stationed within your transcendental abdomen while you were enjoying sleep. Now, your sleep having ended, your eyes are open like blossoming lotuses in the morning.
Okay. So it is continuing and saying that, okay, the Lord is sleeping, like we already discussed on a snake with violent water. And beyond that, all living entities are the abdomen. And then Brahmaji is saying, Yat Nabhi Idya, O worshipful Lord, Yat Nabhi Padma Bhavana. And who, right? Who is that personality? When he's sleeping, in that sleep, from his navel, an entire lotus is actually coming, and Brahma is born on top of the lotus. So Aham Asam, I actually got manifested from that navel, from the house of the lotus, right? For what? Loka Traya Upakarna, for helping in the creation of the three worlds. And yet Anugrahena, only by your mercy, I actually was created on top of this lotus, right? And then further it says, Udara Sta Bhavaya. And all these planets and universes were situated within your abdomen. And Yoga Nidra Avasan. After the end of this transcendental sleep, Vikashat Nalina Ikshanaya. Right? And after his transcendental sleep, this Lord opens his eyes. Right? So when we open our eyes, then when we are sleeping and we open our eyes, it's like, if you have not slept well, it's hard to even open your eyes. You have to struggle and you like kind of see like, oh, rub your eyes to open. But the Lord, when he opens his eyes, immediately it's like blooming lotus petals. And Brahmaji is actually telling the Lord, please open your eyes, which are like blooming lotus petals. Please wake up. Wake up. Why? So that your servant can actually perform Mangala Aarti unto you. That's how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained. The Lord, you're lying on this situation. That's all your glories, but please wake up, because by seeing your lotus eyes, I want to perform Mangala Aarti. I want to do Archana for you. So please wake up. So that's Brahma's prayers. Right? So Prabhupada in purport, he actually says, Brahma is teaching us from the beginning of creation, beginning of Archana regulations from morning 4 o'clock to night 10 o'clock. We should be engaged in Archana. Right. So here Archana, one way, yes, it is deity's worship in the sense that you wake up the Lord at Mangala Aarti, and then you put the Lord to rest at late night. At night, you put the Lord to rest. But beyond that, it is basically that one has to always, from morning to night, engage in worshipping that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So Prabhupada said, early in the morning, the devotee has to rise from his bed, pray to the Lord, and there are other regulative principles for offering Mangala Aarti early in the morning, right? Right. And then Prabhupada says, foolish non-devotees, they criticize. If you tell anyone, oh, we wake up 4 in the morning, they'll be like, what? How stupid of you. 4 in the morning? Who gets up 4 in the morning? That's the time when you get the best sleep, is 4 in the morning. They will criticize. So Prabhupada said, foolish non-devotees, they'll criticize and say like, who gets up 4 in the morning? Right? But they have no eyes to see how the Lord also sleeps by his own will. And when we are worshipping the Lord, we are actually waking up the Lord. Right? So next, just few verses later in 25, we'll read that famous shloka, which actually we are all supposed to, like those who are pujaris, when we actually offer Mangala Aarti, when we come and wake up the Lord, we chant this verse, text number 25 of this, right, which we are just going to discuss in few minutes. Right? So they cannot understand how because of the love of the devotees, the Lord also goes to rest and then wakes up in the morning. So Brahmaji is saying, please wake up. I want to offer Mangala Aarti to you. Okay. And then Prabhupada says how the impersonalists, they always think backward. Right? So they say, in this matter, there is so much form. Therefore, spirit should be formless. That's what they think. Matter means so much form. Therefore, spiritual world should be formless. Then there is sleep in matter. Right? We sleep. But therefore, in spiritual world, there should be no sleep. Right? And right. So, and then further they say, in Archana, we actually wake up the Lord in the morning, right? So sleeping is accepted in Archana. Therefore, Archana itself is Maya. That's how the impersonalists actually think. Right? But they do not have the knowledge how out of the love of the devotees, the Lord actually accepts all this. He sleeps and he wakes up, and that way he actually exchanges pastimes with the Lord. Okay, so that is up to text 21. So what all the Lord has offered obeisances to, just think about it without looking at your books. Let's think about what did the Lord Brahmaji offer obeisances to in these last few verses.
Eternal time.
Okay, so 2 verses on eternal time. And why on eternal time? Why is he offering obeisances at time? Without looking, let's think about it.
Because time can take away everything from us.
Yes, okay. Time takes away everything. All your plans, everything you can make, but time will take it away. Okay, and then further,
Time
what?
will give the opportunity to living entities to turn towards.
Yes, the time actually gives us to think that why am I working so hard when any moment everything can be taken away? Let me find out what is beyond this world. And hence Brahmaji offers obeisances to the time factor. Okay. Now without looking, what else did the Brahmaji offer obeisances to?
The three forms.
Yes, the three forms. So basically he said, oh Lord, it is you himself. You have actually expanded yourself as three trunks. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, just for this purpose of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. And further, you have expanded yourself into many sub-branches, like all the Manus, Swayambhu Manu, and Marichi, all the sages, etc. Right? So hence offer obeisances to that. Okay. Then what else?
Eternal time.
Okay, we talked about eternal time, right? Yeah. So time we talked about. So time, then we talked about the three trunks. Then what else?
Like different forms of the Lord, Prabhuji.
Third, he actually offered obeisances to the different incarnations of the Lord. He said, even though you may accept incarnations in subhuman species, in lower Varaha, Matsya, all those species, still you are actually the original transcendental Lord. It's not that all these species, the lower species actually affects you. You are free from all contamination. And you accept these forms out of your own sweet will, and also, what was the other one? Out of your own sweet will, and
Mercy.
was it?
Mercy. Protection.
Pastime, Prabhuji.
Okay, protection was that. He's accepting these forms to actually give protection, but he does it out of Atma, and there's two points of Atma. One is by his own sweet will, and
Devotees love Prabhuji.
okay,
And
devotee
controls.
that is there. But then he particularly makes the point that he appears out of his own self-created. No one has to create the form of the Lord. It is out of his own self-will and also his own self-creation. Right? So the two Atma points are there, right? Okay. So different incarnations. So time, then he's offered obeisances to the three forms as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and then he's offering obeisances to different incarnations and subspecies. What else?
The transcendental names of the Lord.
Yes, I was just waiting for that one special, especially for us. For us, it's all in the holy name. And he's actually offering obeisances that, Lord, you're so merciful that even though you don't have to do anything, still you come into this material world and then you do so many activities. Why? So that we have so many names to chant. Right? And then a person may say, Giridhari, Gopinath, right? And just at the moment of death, even if someone unconsciously chants the name, then what happens? What is the result? What is the result?
Immediate salvation.
Yeah, like all the sinful reactions for so many lives, aneka janma, so many lifetimes sinful reactions are washed away, and one gets an opportunity to actually attain that Satchidananda form of the Lord. Like Ajamil, after he chanted, then what happened? Then he got the opportunity. He said, okay, now I'm just going to take the devotion. And then he chanted, he actually practiced bhakti and then went back home, back to God. Okay. Anything else? Did we miss any point? So we talked of the holy name, we talked of the time factor, we talked of so many different forms. And then last, what was the last two verses offering obeisances to?
Who is lying on the
Yes.
snakes?
He is lying on that form. Who can imagine the Lord is so glorious that when he sleeps on a snake in the middle of violent water. And in his abdomen, what is it? Leftover food? No. In his abdomen, all the living entities are there. And not only that, from his navel, what comes? A whole lotus flower comes, and I am born on that lotus flower. Who can be, who other than the Lord can have such a glorious sleep? Even when the Lord sleeps, it is so glorious that Brahmaji is born from his sleep. Hence, here Brahmaji is offering obeisances and saying, please wake up now. Right? Please wake up so that I can do Mangala Aarti. Okay. Okay. So we'll stop here. Any comments, realizations, any other comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I like the point that only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation because they have taken the dust of the lotus feet of another devotee.
The 3 verses of Prahlad Maharaj, what he actually tells. It's nice verses to memorize also, all those 3 verses. Prabhupada so often quotes, particularly that second verse, Nate vidu swartha gatimi Vishnu. People do not know what is your swartha. Swa-artha. Swa-artha means our own benefit. Right? People do not know. So people not swartha gatimi Vishnu, that Vishnu is actually a real goal. People do not know, right? And hence they are actually engaged in Puna Puna Charvita Charvanana. Right? And how? Matirna Krishna Parata Sotova. But how will they know what is their real goal? Rajobhishekam, Mahiyasam Rajobhishekam. Right? When we get the Abhishek, when we wash, when we bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, then we can actually understand. Nice. Anything else? Any other points?
Yes, time is very, very important. So like each and every second, like each and every moment, a devotee has to like very, very careful. It should not be waste each and every second.
Very nice point. Yeah. Time and tide waits for no man. Remember we read this in the purport in that Ayur Harati Vaipum verse. Prabhupada makes the point. Time and tide wait for no man. Okay. Like today is already March 31st. And I was just thinking like March has gone so fast. The whole month has gone. And soon it'll be like April gone, May gone, and then 2024 gone. Time is flying like this. It's going so fast. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Prabhuji, one question, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Brahma and Shiva are the expansions of the Lord. That's what we read, right?
Guna avatars. Guna avatars.
Okay. Are they separate living entities, Prabhuji? How can I understand the expansion versus are they separate living entities or?
Yeah, they are separate, right? I mean, expansions are of 2 kinds. One is Vibhinamsa and one is Swamsa. Swamsa is his own expansion, Swa-amsa, right? That is all Vishnu incarnation, right? Varaha, Vamana, Matsya, Narsimha, the own incarnation, Vishnu himself. And other is Vibhinamsa, separated incarnation, right? Separated expansion. And that includes Brahmaji, right? Shiva is a little bit special in that category because he comes in both. He's not Vishnu Tattva, he's not Jiva Tattva. He is actually his own Shiva Tattva, his own category. But still they are separated for sure. For sure. Brahmaji is like, he's also a Jiva, just as an empowered Jiva.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you mentioned that in text 15, the glories of the transcendental name is the secret of going back to Godhead. It's given.
Yeah. For us, it's all in the name, right? Hari Nam Eva Kevalam. That's it. It's all in Kevalam. Okay, so we'll take a break now. So we'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll continue the prayers. So there's one more section on the prayers, only 22 to 25, and then we'll come to how Krishna replies to Brahma. So let's come back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, please, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so Hare Krishna, everyone. So please come back. We'll continue. Actually, this next 4 verses are actually very, very wonderful verses. It's how can we, like, what should be our mood in offering prayers to the Lord? And Brahmaji, as our Sampradaya Acharya, is actually showing us how we should actually pray to the Lord, right? Particularly when we are doing our seva. So everyone, please come back and we'll continue. Okay, so let's start with text number 22. So next 4 verses, Brahma is actually going to make a request, right? And do you remember the sequence that we had mentioned earlier? That when devotees offer prayers, first they actually come and they do what? They don't just directly come and offer prayers, right? And we discussed this even when Arjun, he actually saw the Brahmastra left by Ashwatthama coming to him, right? He then immediately said, "Oh Krishna, Brahmastra, save me." Right? First, he actually glorifies the Lord. So first is always obeisances to the Lord, glorification. So glorification, obeisances, and then comes the request. It's always first glorification. So we already saw Brahmaji offering obeisances, glorifying the Lord, and now he will actually make his request, right? So let's before we go into Brahma's prayers, when you are like, let's say your guru gives you an instruction, he's saying, I want you to go and do this seva. What prayers would you ask from your guru when the seva is given? For
empowerment.
Okay, empowerment. That's nice. So please empower me. You have given me the instruction, but please empower me that I can follow the instruction. Okay. What else? Without looking at the verses, let's think about it.
Strength to do it.
Yeah, empowerment, strength. Okay, similar. Yes.
Remove the obstructions.
Yeah.
Or let not be any obstructions. That's a very nice. So let like when I'm doing my seva, let there be no obstructions. Okay, that's very nice. So empowerment, no obstructions, obstacles, right?
No pride after
No
doing
pride.
this.
Yeah, that's very important. That when we are doing a seva, we shouldn't feel pride. Oh, Guru Maharaj has given me this seva. See, I am so great. Right? So yes. Okay, no pride. We should be as an instrument. So, like Guru Maharaj has mercifully given me seva. I just want to serve as an instrument. Anything else anyone can think about?
Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
That should be useful for all the devotees, or like it should be in the service of.
Yeah, so that's a good point that we actually pray that while we are doing the service, we do it in such a way that is all pleasing to the Vaishnavas. Right? Pleasing to all the Vaishnavas. Yes. Okay. And Ratnalika, one last.
And no anarthas get in the way of the service, in my own heart, that I might block the.
Yeah. So obstacles, anartha, obstructions. Okay, so let's see what Brahma offers prayers in these 4 verses, and we'll see how it's actually very close to the points that you said, and Brahma is teaching us how we can pray to the Lord, right? Okay, so first 22.
So yam samasta jagatam surideka atma satvena yan mridayate bhagavan bhagena Tenaiva me drisham anu sprishatad yataham srakshyami purvavad idam pranata priyoso.
Hare Krishna. Let the Supreme Lord be merciful towards me. He is the one friend and soul of all living entities in the world, and he maintains all for their ultimate happiness by his 6 transcendental opulences. May he be merciful towards me so that I, as before, may be empowered with the introspection to create, for I am also one of the surrendered souls who are dear to the Lord.
So what is Brahmaji asking in this verse? That may I be empowered with the introspection to create. Right? So may I be, like first point you all said was empowerment. Right? Like I have been given this seva. Brahma has given the seva of what? He has to create. But he's saying that I need empowerment. Without your empowerment, I cannot create. So similarly, when we get instructions from our guru, or, we always have instructions from Srila Prabhupada, how we should serve, how we need to preach Krishna consciousness, how we have to practice our devotion. So we already have the instructions, so either specific or general instruction. But when we receive the instructions, we should actually pray to them that you please empower me to follow the instructions. Right? So Brahma is asking for empowerment. But with that empowerment, he's actually saying very nice verse. He says, Sir, I am. He, the Lord, he's saying, oh, the Lord, right? Samasta Jagatam, of all the living entities, what is the Lord? He is Surat. He is actually the friend of all the living entities, right? He is actually Surat. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he is the protector of all the spiritual and the material worlds. He is the friend of everyone, right? In that way, he is protecting all living entities. Then, second one. So there are 4 adjectives he actually uses. First is Surat. Second, he says, is Atma. Atma means he is the soul of every living entity. Atma Paramatma, right? For all living entities, he is the soul, right? And another meaning Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says of Atma, that he is actually the abode of unconditional prema. He is the abode of unconditional prema. So he gives second meaning of Atma. Right? Then third meaning, third word is Ekaha. Ekaha means he alone is actually the real friend and protector of everyone. Or Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually says, because he's so Rasika Guru, he says, he is one alone because all others are not abode of prema. Only the Lord is actually the abode of prema. No one else is actually the abode of prema. Right? So Ekaha. And then the fourth point is Satvena Mridayate. Right? And then Bhagwan Bhagena. So basically this fourth point means, okay, Satvena means by Sattva, right? And Mridayate means happiness. Right? Mridayate, word to word, what does Prabhupada say? Yeah, causing happiness, right? So the fourth point, it is a Lord who actually Mridayate, causes happiness to what? He gives happiness to the material world by what? By Sattva Guna. Right? Why Sattva Guna? Why does the Lord give happiness to the material world by Sattva Guna? If you remember in Bhagavad Gita in the 14th chapter, when Krishna talks of Sattva Guna, he says the Sattva Guna leads to what? Happiness. Right? So even in this material world, when we talk of material happiness, actually the real happiness in this material world is actually in Sattva Guna. So here it says the Lord gives happiness to the material world by the Sattva Guna. Right? And then how does he give happiness to the spiritual world? By Bhagavan Bhagena, by the 6 opulences of him. Right? So these are the 4 points that Brahmaji is glorifying the Lord. Surat, Atma, Ekaha, and then the 4th one is actually Satvena Mridayate. Right? Giving happiness by Sattva to all the living entities and through his 6 opulences to all the spiritual worlds. Everyone got these 4 points? Right? Okay. So these 4 points. And further, he actually says, so this is glorification of the Lord. And then further he says, Tena eva me. May that Lord, Drisham, give me the power of introspection so that I may be empowered. I may be empowered to do what? Aham Shiksyama. Shikshyama means I may be Shikshyami, okay, that I may be empowered to create, right? Because I am here for creation. So I may be empowered to create. And Purvavat, as I created before, right? Every day of Brahma, he wakes up, he has to do creation. So as I created before, please again empower me to create, right? And then further, the last word he actually said, Pranata Priya, because you are very dear to those who are surrendered unto you. I am also surrendering, because previous verses he says Tasmai Namo Bhagavate, and then he uses the word like Prapadyate, right? In the previous verses, I am surrendering unto you, and you are very dear to those who surrender. So please be dear to me also, right? So this is a very nice mood we learn from this verse, that you know how Prabhupada also makes this verse, that when we call Krishna as Yashodanandana instead of directly Krishna, then Krishna is more pleased. Why? Because we are chanting the name of his devotee, right? Radha Madhav. As soon as we say Radha, Krishna is immediately attracted. Oh, who chanted the name of Radha? Let me see, right? So here Brahmaji is also using that. He's calling out for the mercy of the Lord, but he's saying, Pranata Priya, you are so dear to your devotees, right? You are Bhakta Priya. So I am also surrendering unto you. So you be pleased upon me, and you please empower me. Okay. So everyone got this? 4 points he actually said. Ekaha, Surit. Then he actually says Atma and Satvena Mridayate. He is glorifying that you are these 4, and hence you please empower me to do what? Shakshyami, to create. How? Purvavat, as I created before. And you please fulfill my desire. Why? Because you are what? Pranata Priya. You are the dear of one who actually surrenders unto you. So I have surrendered unto you. So you please empower me. Right? So now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further elaborates that when he talks of that you create happiness to the, you give happiness to the material world by Sattva Guna, and you give happiness to the spiritual world by your 6 opulences, right? So why Brahmaji is actually saying this, both material and spiritual? Because he also has he also has a request both from the material side and the spiritual side. And what is that? May the Lord, you please empower me by material wisdom, by giving me a small portion of Sattva Guna. Actually, Brahmaji is in charge of Rajoguna, but he's saying you give me Sattva so that I can actually do this task of creation. Because without that knowledge, how can Brahma create? Right? And knowledge means Sattva. Right? So he's saying, you please give me that material wisdom by a small portion of your Sattva. And why spiritual? And he's saying, you please empower me with spiritual wisdom by a portion of your spiritual qualities. So I need both. Why do I need both? Because I have to create material entities like Marichi, right, who's a sage, right, who will be created by Brahma. I have to create all those. They are material entities. So I need material wisdom there. And why spiritual? Because I have to manifest spiritual personalities. Like whom? Like Brahma manifests spiritual personalities like whom?
Shiva.
Who?
Shiva.
Shiva. Okay, Shiva. Narada, Shiva. Not that Brahma is materially creating these personalities. Narada is always there. He has to just manifest them, right? Hence, he is asking for both material and spiritual. Material wisdom to actually create, right? Material personalities like Marichi, etc. Spiritual wisdom so that to manifest spiritual personalities like Narada, right? So similarly, can we pray? Can we also have a prayer like that? That, oh Lord, you please empower me both materially and spiritually. Give me the material wisdom so that I can even, do things in this world, right? And give me the spiritual wisdom so that I can actually always be engaged in your seva. Right? So similarly, Brahma is praying. So such a nice prayer. So anyone has any comments on this? This verse is clear. So first thing, empowerment. But he asked both on the material and the spiritual side. Good, everyone? Okay, next text 23. So after asking for empowerment, what does Brahma ask for? Let's see in 23.
Esha prapanna varado ramayatma shaktya yat yat karishyati grihita gunavataraha tasmin swavikramam idam srijato picheto yunjita karma shamalam cha yata vijayam.
Hare Krishna, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered souls. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Hare Krishna.
So first is empowerment. Second is actually asked that may I karma shamalam. Karma shamalam means may I not be affected by the shamala, false ego, that oh, I am doing this. Right? And so, we have this instruction that we should go out distribute books. And then after book distribution, if we think that, see, I am so great, I distributed so many books today. Right? No, we are just instrument. So we should pray to the Lord that please protect me from this false ego. So Brahmaji is praying after empowerment, he's praying to be protected from false ego. But how does he do it? And we see this again, Brahmaji is actually starting the verse by saying, Esha prapanna varada. Varada means Varada, benedictions. Eva prapanna. You actually give benedictions to those who are prapanna, those who are surrendered unto you. Right? Similar to the last verse, he ends with the point that you are pranata priya. You are dear to those who are surrendered. He starts this verse that those who are surrendered, you actually give them benedictions. Right? Varada. So you please give me also a benediction. And what is that? Ramaya Atma Shaktya. And further, like how I made the point, that when we address Krishna, we should actually address Krishna through his devotees. Right? So here he is actually saying, oh Ramaya, Ramaya referring to Rama Devi, that all your activities are actually enacted through your internal potency, Rama Devi. Right? And then further he says, Yat Yat Karishyati. So whatever you do, Grihita, by accepting different incarnations, all that is done through your internal potency. Right? And then further, so further he says, Tasmin, right, unto him, hence he's praying that idam srijataha. So in spite of I being in charge of creation, right, srijataha, creating this cosmic manifestation, yunjita karma, may I not be affected by the shamala, the false prestige of being the creator. Right? So I just want to engage in a service, but I don't want to be affected by the false pride that I am the doer, I am the top book distributor, I am the whatever, I'm the best pujari, I am the best cook in all of ISKCON, right? Let I not be proud with all this, right? So that's the second prayer that Brahmaji asked. And yeah, so another point here, one can say that why is Brahmaji actually referring to Ramaya Atma Shaktya? Can anyone think about this? Like in terms of the false ego, why is Brahmaji praying to the Lord as that all your pastimes, activities are done through your internal potency? Can anyone think about this?
I think the glance is carried by Ramadevi to the
Yeah.
material.
Yeah, that point is there. But when you talk of internal potency, why is the Brahmaji specifically praying that, oh Lord, everything you do is through your internal potency?
We are not the doers. Huh?
Okay.
So that's why Brahmaji is saying that I should never get the false.
Yeah, I mean that point is good. But I'm making the point that why is Brahmaji here specifically praying that all your activities are done through your internal potency? Because, how what is the verse in Bhagavad Gita? Mahatmanastu Mahaparta Daivim Prakritim Ashrita. Right? That the devotees, they are always under the shelter of what? Maya Shakti or Devi Shakti?
Devi Shakti.
Right? So similarly here he's praying to the Lord that you do everything through your internal potency and you have given me the task. So let I not be affected by false ego and let me always remain under the shelter of your internal potency. Let me be under the Devi Shakti, Mahatmanastu Mahaprata, Devim Prakritim Ashrita. Let me be under the internal. Then I will not be affected by false ego. Right? And hence he's actually making that point. Okay. And Prabhupada in the purpose says, not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. So where is the question of us taking credit for anything? Where is it us, feeling that, oh, I am so great, I have done this, right? Everything is done by the Lord, right? He's just using us as instrument. So we should be just feel grateful and fortunate. The Lord is actually using us in His service. Okay. Okay. Now, next. So what is the first thing Brahmaji prayed for?
Empowerment.
Empowerment. Second thing?
Not to be puffed up. False prestige.
False pride. Right? Protect from false pride. Okay, third. Let's see, 24.
Nabi redai hasatom pasiyasya pumso Vijnana Shaktir Aham Asamananta Shaktehe Rupam Vichitram Idamasya Vivrinvato me Mari Rishishta Nigamasya Giram Visargaha.
Hare Krishna. The Lord's potencies are innumerable. As he lies down in the water of devastation, I am born as a total universal energy from the navel lake in which the lotus sprouts. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. I therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns. Hare Krishna.
What is the third thing he's actually saying? Then it's so practical for us. When we are actually offering seva, let's say we go out for Harinam, book distribution, we are out there in the world, right? And the world is just like a capital of Maya Devi. Everywhere there is like so much illicit, attraction to the opposite sex, meat eating, intoxication, all those things are going on all around us. So the third prayer that Brahmaji says that even I will be subjected to all these different allurements. Like what? I have to create all these different bodies. Right? Bodies of people who are living entities who are like down, very degraded, very vicious forms. I have to create all those. And while I'm actually engaged in that, may I not be deviated from what? From the spiritual sound vibration. So practically for us, when we go out for any seva, we are going out in the world, we can always pray, oh Lord, let me not forget your holy name. Let me always remember the spiritual sound vibration while I'm actually doing this seva. Because that's my only shelter. That's my only shelter. Right? So here it says, Nabi Ridat, from the navel lake, Iha, in this millennium, Ambasi Yasya Pumsa. So the Lord who's actually lying in the water, I was actually born from the navel lake of that Lord who was actually lying on the water. Aham Asam, I was born. Ananta Shakta Rupam. And Vichitram Idam Viv Ruvatah. Right? So, but now I am going to be engaged in manifesting diverse energies in the form of your cosmic manifestation. And Ma Vishishta Nigamasya Giram Visarga. And may I not be deviated from the vibration of Vedic hymns, that maybe I don't forget your knowledge that you have given me, which you have actually empowered me, like Chatushloki Bhagavatam, etc. Right? So may I not forget all this wisdom and be captured by Maya. Let I always remember this wisdom. Let me always remember the holy name. Right? Okay. That is third Brahmaji's prayer. Right? So Prabhupada gives a very powerful purport here. Right? And he says every person engaged in transcendental loving service is prone to so many material activities. Right? So many, we have to do so many material activities. Even to live in this world, we have to do so many material activities, isn't it? And if one is not strong enough to protect himself against the onslaught of material affection, then he may be diverted from spiritual energy. Like we should always remember, where are we right now? We are in the kingdom of Maya. Right? We are in the kingdom of Maya. So Prabhupada says, if one is not strong enough to protect himself from the onslaught of Maya, then you can be easily diverted from spiritual energy. Right? So, and then further Prabhupada says, Brahmaji, he's a supermost Brahmana, right? And he has to create so many vicious living bodies. Therefore, he wants to always remember this spiritual wisdom. He wants to always remember the Vedic knowledge, right? Vedic knowledge. Okay. So, and then further in the purport, Prabhupada actually makes this point. Okay. So he says, it's a warning for one and all in spiritual advancement, that unless one is sufficiently protected by the Lord, he may fall down. Right? It says warning for one and all in spiritual advancement, unless one is sufficiently protected by the Lord, one may fall down. Well, how can we be protected by the Lord? And then further Prabhupada says, therefore one has to pray constantly to the Lord for protection and for blessing to carry out one's duty. Constantly we have to keep praying, oh Krishna, please help me. I'm here in this kingdom of Maya. And you have given me so many services to perform. Please always protect me. Always, constantly keep praying to the Lord. Constantly praying to the Lord for protection. And further, Prabhupada makes a point. He says the spiritual life is like an edge of a sharpened razor. Just like for men, shaving. Just little inattentiveness, cut. Right? So similarly here, Prabhupada says, spiritual life is like the edge of a sharpened razor. A little inattentiveness will actually cause havoc in the spiritual life. Right? Now Prabhupada said, the problem with all of us is that we don't take Maya seriously. We take Maya very lightly. Oh, it's okay. Once I'll do this, what is that? No problem. Yeah, it's only once and nothing will happen. Right? We take Maya very lightly. So very powerful purport, right? So Prabhupada actually saying. Okay. Are there any comments on this verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it says it's not easy in devotional service because always obstacles, problems are there. So it says in one proverb is like in तलवार की धार पे चलना है, ऐसा बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में. So it's very, very hard, but very, very careful also, devotee has to.
Like that's the point, like how Prabhupada said, that it's like the edge of a sharpened razor.
Yes.
Right? So you have to be very careful. And as soon as Prabhupada says, even little inattentiveness will actually cause the greatest havoc. Right? So there's actually a beautiful lecture I strongly recommend that Giriraj Swami Maharaj gives on this particular verse, like a Bhagavatam class, and it's like very amazing how Giriraj Swami Maharaj he actually goes through this verse. And let me see. I'm not sure whether I should share my screen, but let me tell you a few points from this, quickly, just to because this verse is so important for all of us, right? So Giriraj Swami Maharaj, first of all, he starts the class by quoting that how Prabhupada, once he was in Bhaktivedanta Manor, right? And in his lecture, Prabhupada said, he actually declared that I will never fall down. That's like, who can say that I will never fall down? That's such a high state, right? And then after the class, Prabhupada went down to take darshan to the deities, and then he was looking at the deities, and then he was praying, very sincerely to the deities, with great feeling. And then a disciple asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what were you praying for? And Prabhupada said, what? I was praying to the deities that I will never fall down. And disciple said, you just said in the class that you'll never fall down. And now you're saying that I'm praying to a deity that I never fall on. How can we understand? Right? And Prabhupada said, because I'm always praying, I may never fall down, therefore I'll never fall down. You see the point? You know? So every moment we have to be praying, like, Krishna, please protect me, please protect me. I'm in this kingdom of Maya, please protect me. And if we are always constantly praying to Krishna, then we'll be saved from falling down. Right? So that's the first pastime that Viraswami Maharaj mentions. Right? So he says that a devotee should always be humble and always feel himself that I am completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. I am unqualified to do anything in this world. I am such a rascal. All these anarthas are there within me. Anarthas are there within me, and Maya's kingdom is outside. What hope do we have? Right? So we should always feel we are completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Right? And also Prabhupada, Giraswami Maharaj says that Prabhupada, he actually said that whenever I go into a rich man's house, Prabhupada was invited to so many different houses and he used to go. So Prabhupada says that whenever I go to a rich man's house, I'm always praying that may I not be attracted by the rich man's opulence. So, certainly Prabhupada is not attracted by all this, but he's showing us that how, anything we see around, we should always be in a state that, well, may I not be attracted to this. Krishna, please protect me. So always remain meek, humble, always having that mode of prayer. That is the only way we can be protected. Right? Okay. And then further, Prabhupada, in this purport to this verse, he actually says how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has actually given us this mission to go out and preach. Now, one may say that, okay, as long as I'm association of devotees, I am okay, I am protected. But as soon as if I have to go out and distribute books, do Harinam, I have to go out into the world, it is too risky. But the mission, the statement, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction is there for all of us that we have to go out, right? So how can we actually balance these two things? One is we want to always stay in association of devotees, and second is we want to actually go out and preach the message among non-devotees. So how can we balance these two things? So then Prabhupada in this purport also says that how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has assured his devotees that they will be protected from material contamination if they are actually engaged in the seva of preaching Krishna consciousness. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Kurma Brahmana in South India, he actually said, 2 things you have to do and you'll always be protected. What are the 2 things? I think many of you should know.
Constantly chanting the holy name.
Yes, constantly chanting the holy name. And second?
Give Krishna to others.
Giving Krishna to others. So if you are engaged in these 2 things, then we'll be protected, right? We are acting, this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, hence I'm acting as an instrument. So please empower me, please protect me. Always having that mood of protection and prayer. And always chanting the holy name. And then particularly in that Kurma Brahmana pastime, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if you do these 2 things, then I will always be with you, right? I will never actually leave you. You will never lose my company. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will always be with us to actually always protect us. And then, spiritual life is like a razor's edge, and one has to be very, very attentive. One has to be very careful and cautious, and should always constantly pray to the Lord. Okay. So anyway, I will share this lecture. You can hear this lecture. Very nice lecture by Giraswami Maharaj on this one. Okay. Okay. Let's go further. Next, number 25. Right. So this is one verse. I hope you all know this by heart, because I think many of you have deities at home. When we actually wake up in the morning and we want to wake up the deities, this is the shloka we should chant. Okay. So let's chant 25. So maybe we all can. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Repeat.
Yeah, repeat. But on mute, you all can repeat. Okay, go ahead.
So Savadabra Karuno Bhagavan Viridha.
Everyone, please chant.
Prema Smitena Nayanam Buruham Vrijimban. Utaya Vishva Vijayaya Chano Vishadam. Madhya gira panayatat purusha puranaha.
Okay. Okay, so translation. Right. Who's
Vrindavan Vilasani.
The Lord, who is supreme and is the oldest of all, is unlimitedly merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. Hare Krishna.
So what is the fourth prayer of Brahmaji, right? So here is saying, like, as I said, this is like a wake-up prayer. Oh Lord, please wake up, right? So here is saying, Saha, oh Lord, Purushaha, you are the supreme, Puranaha, you are actually the oldest, you are the original, the prime evil. Then Adabra Karuna, you are unlimitedly merciful. Like this is the way we wake up the Lord. That, oh Lord, you are the oldest, you are the supreme, you are unlimitedly merciful. Then Bhagavan, out of Vividra means out of prema, out of excessive love, right? Nayanam Buruham Vijrabham. You please smilingly open your lotus eyes and bestow this benediction upon me. Right? You smilingly open your lotus eyes. And then Uthaya Vishwavijaya, for flourishing and glorifying the cosmic creation, and Vishadam, remove our dejection, right? Kindly take away our dejection by your sweet words. Right? So what is this? The fourth prayer of the Lord, where Brahmaji is actually saying, oh Lord, you're sleeping. Please wake up so that I can actually serve you. Right? And then how is he saying the Lord to wake up? He's saying, out of your excessive kindness, Adabra Karuna, right? You're so merciful, right? And I am no one, but still I'm asking you, out of your causeless mercy, please smilingly open your eyes. Open your eyes so that I may get your darshan. And then the second, and then Vishadam, I am so dejected because I don't know how to do this seva. You know, I don't know how to. So you please speak your sweet words, right? Madhavaya Gira, sweet words you speak, and by the sweet words, let my dejection be gone. So in this way. So every day morning, we can chant this prayer. So Sav Adabra Karuna Bhagwan Vividra, etc. etc. Very nice prayer. Okay, so these are the 4 verses. And Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about how Lord's Ras Leela with the gopis, and he says how the whole thing is predominator and predominated. The Lord is a predominator and the individual jivas are predominated, right? So the bhakti means the service of the predominated to the predominator, right? And that is actually the highest perfection stage of exchange of feelings. So here is basically talking that why is Brahmaji praying in this way? Because he is actually asking the Lord to reciprocate. You smile, you open your eyes, you please speak, right? So he's asking for reciprocation. And that is a role. The jiva is actually supposed to pray to the Lord. Oh Krishna, please, by everything I'm doing, all I want is you kindly just smile upon me. You please open your eyes smilingly, mercifully. You please glance upon me. Right? How there's a prayer where we pray to Srimati Radharani. Please cast your sidelong glances upon me. Right? So similar, it's the same mood. Right? Okay, so 4 prayers of Brahmaji. So what are the 4 points that we can pray for? First one, okay, without looking at the shlokas. First one is what Brahmaji prayed for?
Empowerment.
Empowerment. Second one?
False prestige.
Yeah.
No.
Protect ourselves from false prestige and keep me always under your internal potency. Right? Devi Shakti. Third?
No deviation.
No.
Yes. Let me always remember your transcendental sound, your transcendental words. Let me always be absorbed in you. Right? Then there will be no question of deviation. And fourth?
Reciprocation.
Yeah, you please reciprocate with me. That when I'm doing this service, you please smile upon me, you please speak to me. And in that way, I will always be absorbed in the seva. right? So it's very nice that even we can pray to the Lord in this way for any service. Empowerment, protection from false pride, no deviation, and reciprocation. Empowerment, protection from false pride, no deviation, reciprocation. Empowerment, protection from false pride, no deviation, reciprocation. Right? So then that way you can pray. Okay. Okay. So now it is, so that concludes Brahmaji's prayers. And these are like very nice prayers. That's why I went slowly to actually, go through these prayers. And now the rest of chapter is the Lord will reply to Brahmaji. And that's also very nice verses. So let's go next. Okay, are there any comments up to this point?
Just one question is in 21, Brahma has said, now your sleep having ended, your eyes are open, like blossoming lotuses in the morning.
Yeah.
And this last verse, he's saying, open your eyes, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's the same mood that if you see in 21, he's saying that after finishing your sleep, you open your eyes, which bloom like lotus.
okay.
Right? And here he's saying that you please kindly open those eyes. Because in 20 and 21, the mood is more of the glorification, that the Lord is sleeping on a snake bed and all the points that, around this. And then when we wake up, then our eyes are like, it's so hard to wake our eyes and you have to rub our eyes, all those. The Lord wakes up. It is more of glorification. But here is a request. The request, Lord, please open your eyes. Okay.
And another question, is it okay to ask, like sometimes we may feel that not so much reciprocation, like maybe when we're chanting, we don't feel, or when we're doing some seva, we don't feel some reciprocation. It's okay to ask Krishna for that because you feel almost like, why should I ask Krishna to reciprocate? I should just serve without wanting that. Like I should just serve. You know what I mean? Like, is it okay to ask for that?
So is it okay to ask from reciprocation from the Lord? Actually, yes, it is okay. Because why are we doing the seva? To please the Lord. It's a relationship, right? It's a relationship. So we are doing our seva just to give pleasure to the Lord. So you are actually praying. I want to know that you are pleased with my service. So please show me how that you're pleased with my service. Because if you're not pleased with my service, then please tell me how I can do for your pleasure. Because if I'm not doing seva for your pleasure, then what is the point of my seva? So you please reciprocate so that I know that I'm actually doing the seva for your pleasure. Right? And there is verses like this, like how Shishtastakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nayanam galat ashrudharaya. Let my eyes, tears be flowing from my eyes. And one may say, like, why is he praying for tears? Because he's actually praying for that reciprocation. Lord, you please reciprocate with me. Because without your reciprocation, it's a relationship, right? And we are trying to revive that relationship with Krishna. So we are praying that you please reciprocate with me. And we are praying particularly for a personal reciprocation. Please smile upon me. You cast your glance upon me. Somehow you show that you are actually pleased upon me. Right? Okay. Okay. So let's continue. Text number 26.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Oh yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, so ask anything asked to Lord, then it should not be like Nishkam Bhakti.
What?
If we ask Lord
Yeah.
something, so but our bhakti should be Nishkam. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not Sakam.
This is not, see, when we ask for reciprocation, it is, we are asking reciprocation for our own sense gratification. Our reciprocation, this prayer to the Lord, is actually a prayer for a deeper connection, a deeper exchange of love.
Okay.
That kind of, we should ask these prayers. It's not that devotees, they don't, see, when it says Anya Bhilasita Sunyam, what Abhilasha? Abhilasha, which is actually taking us away from Krishna.
Okay.
Any Abhilasha which is taking us. But the Abhilash of bringing us closer to Krishna, we should pray for it.
Okay.
Krishna, please empower me so I can serve you. Please give me the intelligence so I can serve you. We are praying. We should have that reciprocation. Without that prayer, where is the exchange? Right?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, wow, I see many hands. Okay, go ahead.
Prabhuji, so we are praying for remove obstacles from our path, but if we are still seeing obstacles for any service, means we are not praying properly, or they
You have
benediction.
to pray harder,
Have to pray harder.
more sincerely, you know.
So Krishna is telling something, right, Prabhuji? Like
See, everything that Krishna is seeing, everything that we are doing, but you know, Krishna's reciprocation may come in certain ways so that we actually intense our devotion to him. Because finally, Krishna wants us to come back to him more than even we desire, right? So Krishna actually will you know, okay, you're praying and some anartha, Krishna, please take this away, and you're praying and it's not. And then you have to like, okay, now I have to sincerely pray. I have to really intense my devotion. I have to chant really sincerely. I have to do my bhakti really nicely so that Krishna is pleased. So we know the process. And if we don't see that reciprocation, then Krishna is holding on. He can take it all away, but he's holding on to take it away so that we can actually intensify our sadhana. So Krishna is always there. He's listening to us. So that faith we have.
So I always get confused. Like, okay, Krishna gave service as a mercy, but he's giving obstacles. So mercy and both are.
So he's given us service. At the same time, there are obstacles, but that obstacles are actually tests. You know, it's actually tests. Test, like an exam. Okay, given you seva, but I want to see how committed you are to actually do the seva. In spite of the obstacle, will you actually serve me?
So it's like testing us.
If we actually do that, in spite of the obstacle, we are serving Krishna. Then Krishna is very pleased. Oh, see, I gave a seva, but in spite of that, he did it. So
how can we keep our mood nicely? So I got a service, so I want to do nicely with Krishna Prema. Okay, Krishna, I want to do lovingly, not like with fear.
Yes. So that that's where our chanting, everything. So one is our sadhana and one is our seva. So if our sadhana is good, then the mood in our seva will be good. If your sadhana is not strong, we are not chanting around, we are not reading Bhagavatam every day, we are not studying shlokas, we are not doing our sadhana, then when we do the seva, then the seva will be more mechanical. And then as soon as an obstacle comes, we'll be like, oh no, this is not good. Why this obstacle? I don't want to do this. But if a sadhana is strong, then in spite of the obstacle, we'll be like, no, I have to do this for Krishna's pleasure. This is what Krishna wants me to do. I'll pray more to Krishna. Krishna, please, I want to do this for his pleasure, for your pleasure. This obstacle has come. Please take it away so that I can serve you nicely. And then it intensifies our bhakti. Right? Therefore, sadhana, if you're doing seva and your sadhana is not so strong, then the mood in the seva may not be right. May not be.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, so we'll do another 15 minutes and we'll stop. So 26, let's go ahead.
Maitreya Uvacha Swasambhavam Nisham Yaivam Tapo Vidya Samadhibihi Yavan Manovacha Stutva Virarama Sakinavad.
The sage Maitreya said, O Vidura, after observing the source of his appearance, namely the personality of Godhead, Brahma prayed for his mercy as far as his mind and words would permit him. Thus, having prayed, he became silent, as if tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and mental concentration.
So what did Brahma do after offering his prayers? So before that, he actually said, Evam tas swa sambhavam nishamya, right? Seeing the source of his appearance. So he was trying to find out. He went down the lotus to see what? Who's my source? So after seeing the source of his appearance, and why did he see the source? Due to tapaha, due to vidya, due to samadhi, due to penance, due to knowledge, due to concentration of mind, he actually saw the source of his appearance. And then he has offered prayers. Tutva, having offered prayers, yavat manaha vachaha. This is a very nice point. Yavat manaha vachaha. As far as possible by his mind and words. right? So when we offer prayers, yes, there are so many nice bhajans, so we can sing the bhajans to the Lord. We have prayers in Bhagavatam, full of prayers, so we can chant those prayers. But finally, we also have to say our own prayers. That as far as our mind and our word realizations we have, we offer prayer to the Lord. And Brahmaji did exactly that. So he did stutva, and then yavat manaha vachaha, as far as possible, which is mind and words. And then after that, what did he do? Vivarama hinnavat. He became silent as if tired. Right? As if tired, he actually became silent. So he did the penance, he did the tapaha, he did the vidya, samadhi, he concentrated his mind, he saw the source, he offered prayers, and then he actually became quiet. Okay, so that's what this verse is saying. So Prabhupada in the purport makes an excellent point. He says that how the spiritual master is actually both outside and inside. Right? He is inside as a Chaitya Guru, right? And outside he is in which form? Both Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. Right? And actually the Shiksha Guru, who is the manifestation of the Paramatma, the Chaitya Guru, appears externally as the Shiksha Guru. Right? So Prabhupada is actually making the point, because for Brahma, there was actually no one else around him. There was only the Lord, right? So it was the same Lord who actually appeared within Brahma and also externally as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. It was the same Lord, right? Same Lord who actually appeared. Right? So Lord enlightened him about everything from within, right? From within, and he's present there as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay. So anyway, I was going to talk more about Shiksha and Diksha Gurus, but I will just give you a reference if you want to read more about how the Chaitya Guru, the Super Soul, manifests himself externally as Shiksha Guru. You can read Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 1, text number 42. Actually, I'll give you exact reference. So text 44 to 46 talks about Diksha Guru. And then text number, what is this text? 48 onwards to 55 talks about Shiksha Guru. Right? So it's very nice. This is like one section where so much, even Prabhupada in the purports talks about like how even in Shiksha Guru, there are two kinds of Shiksha Gurus. And then how Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, who are they? You know, how Shiksha Guru is manifestation of Paramatma in the heart. All those points, and how we can have only one Diksha Guru, but we can have unlimited Shiksha Guru. Like all those points, very nicely Prabhupada explains in purport. So that's a nice section for you to read. Okay, text 27, 28.
अथाभिप्रेतम् अवीक्ष्य अनिवीक्ष्य भ्रमणो मधुसूदनः विषणाचेतसां तेन कल्पव्यतिकराम्भसा लोकसंस्थानविज्ञान आत्मना परिकीर्तयतः तम् आहागाधया वाचा कश्मलं शमयन् इव.
The Lord saw that Brahma was very anxious about the planning and construction of the different planetary systems and was depressed upon seeing the devastating water. He could understand the intention of Brahma, and thus he spoke in deep, thoughtful words, removing all the illusion that had arisen.
Okay. So here he says, so last verse, what did you read? Brahma, after saying the prayers, he became quiet, right? Silent. Now here is saying, Atha abhipretam anviksha, right? Brahmana Madhusudana. So when Madhusudana Krishna, he actually heard the prayers of Brahma, he understood the intention, abhipretya anaviksha. He understood the intention of Brahma. Then what did he do? Visana chetasam vyatikara ambasa. Right? And he saw that how Brahmaji was actually depressed in his heart. Why was Brahmaji depressed? Because it actually says here, because of the devastating water. So in the previous chapter, we had this question that, oh, there it said the devastating water was dried up, right? But here we see the devastating water is still there. And that's why Brahma was seeing. He was thinking that lotus stem is there, devastating water everywhere. How will I create? You know, and hence he was in anxiety Because if the water is there, how can you create something inside the water? The planets and everything. So he was actually depressed, right? And then he says, Parikhidhyatah Lokas Samsthana, right? So Jnana. So he was also anxious about the planning and construction of Lokaha, all the planetary systems. Therefore, Tam Aha Agadya. Then unto him the Lord actually, Agadya means in deeply thoughtful words, the Lord actually spoke to him. And then when the Lord spoke, then what happened? Shamayu Kashmalam. All the impurities that had arisen in his heart were actually taken away. Right? So he was anxious about two things. One is actually he was depressed about the devastating water, and second, he was anxious that how will I create? How can I create all these planetary systems? You know, so many planets. It's not just 14 planets, right? Actually, for Brahma, it was 10 planetary systems he had to create. And you're thinking, how will I create? You know, so he was in anxiety. Like when you get an instruction from the guru, maybe you're in anxiety that, oh, how will I do this? Right? How when Prabhupada gave the instruction for Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? They were on morning walk. I'm sure everyone knows the story. They were on morning walk, right? Rameshwar Prabhu was there. And Prabhupada said that, you are all lagging behind. Every night I'm dictating all these books, but you're not printing them, right? So Prabhupada said, I want the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita printed. And Rameshwar Prabhu actually said that, okay, he was calculating and said like, okay, we can do it in, I think he said 2 years or something. 2 years I can do the whole thing. Like he was seeing BBT, it was a new department, so he was thinking, okay, printing, publishing. And Prabhupada looked at him and said like, no, 2 months. 2 months, full publishing in just 2 months. Imagine like to write one book to get it published, with all the typing it, doing the artwork, everything. It takes years for people. And when Rameshwar Prabhu heard 2 months, first he was thinking that, what did Prabhu say? Well, he said maybe something else, Said, no, 2 months. And what did Rameshwar Prabhu say?
Impossible.
Impossible. And Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in fool's dictionary. And then immediately Rameshwar Prabhu and there's one more devotee, they just stopped there. They said, Prabhupada is serious. 2 months he wants the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita published. And he said, okay, Prabhupada, let's think about it. And immediately he started calculating, okay, here the BBT publishing department is there, they have to come here, and then people will start doing it. And within 2 months they did it. But imagine when Prabhupada, they got the instruction, how much anxiety in their mind. 2 months we have to publish entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. So much anxiety, right? So when we get a seva, it's natural. So Brahmaji also was anxious. So much water, how can I create in the water? So you have to do something, right? So, and the Lord now speaks. So next few verses also very nice, where we'll see the Lord actually give instructions to Brahmaji, right? Because he has prayed for, what are the 4 things Brahmaji prayed for? Empowerment. Then?
Protection from false ego.
Protection from false ego. Then?
No deviation from the spiritual
No
sound.
deviation from spiritual sound. And 4th?
Reciprocation.
He has prayed for all this, so now Krishna will reciprocate, and he'll speak how Brahma can be protected from false ego, how he can be protected from deviation, and how he'll be empowered to actually create. Okay, so I can just show my, just to see the flow of the verses, and I will stop. We won't go to the next one, but yeah, I'll just share my screen. Okay, so you see, right, so you see, like here it says, the Supreme Lord replied to Brahma. So from 29 to the end of this chapter is all the reply of the Lord to Brahmaji. And then, so first section is follow penance and devotion to see everything in relation with me. This is a very nice point we'll discuss. And then 34 to 40 is the Lord's mercy and benedictions offered. Right? He'll say how he can be protected from this deviation and from false ego. And the last section is I am the dearmost of all, and I am the one to be satisfied. Right? The ultimate goal of everything is actually Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. And that's how this chapter will actually end. Okay. So we'll stop here. Any comments, questions, realizations?
Prabhuji, in this purport of 27 to 28, it's written that when the three modes are mixed, they become 9, and the 9 mixed, they become 81. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the three modes of material nature, right? Three modes, Sattva, Raja, Tama. Now, Sattva, when it is mixed with Rajaha and it is mixed with Tamaha, then 3 times 3, that leads to 9. Then 9 times 3, 27. 27 and 3, 81. So, Brahmaji was actually in anxiety because when does this combination end? I mean, there is no limit, right? Like 3 times 3, then times 3, times 3, times 3. You can have goodness, let's say 1% goodness, 54% passion, and 45% ignorance, right? And then you can have 10.5% goodness, right? And then 40% passion and remaining ignorance. How many combinations can you have? Unlimited. That's why there are 8.4 million species of life. So many combinations of all these passion. And Brahmaji is saying, I have to create bodies for each one of these. How will I do it? Imagine, how will you do it, right? Like if you are a painter and you have given 3 colors, 3 basic colors, and say, from these 3 basic colors, I want to see a painting that has all the combination, 8.4 million combinations of colors. I want to see. The painter will be like, how is that possible? Right? I mean, now because of technology on the screen, like TV, they actually say what? Like so many combinations of, and how do you say? Like they talk of like this TV has so many pixels, but they say something else, right? Resolution is okay, but basically like so many different varieties of colors, basically million, colors that each pixel can have this combination, this combination, this combination, so many, right? So basically they are just combining 3 basic colors and they're giving so many. And Brahma is thinking, I have to create so many lifespans. How will I do it? How will I do it? So that hence is an anxiety. Okay. Okay. So Brahma's task is not easy. Imagine like all of a sudden he's right there, so much water, and he has to do a creation. It's like, how will I do it? And she's praying, oh Lord, unless you empower, I cannot do it. Right. So I find this section very, very powerful. Like personally for, our, we have like, as I mentioned last class we were discussing, we have such a big responsibility. The whole world is suffering and we have the solution. So Prabhupada has given each one of us such big responsibility. And when you think about it, it's almost like, how will we do anything? The whole world we can spread Krishna consciousness. How much is that? Unlimited opportunities for seva. How will we do? Hence we can pray to the Lord. Unless you empower me, I cannot do anything. Right? So, very nice prayers. Okay. Okay. Any final?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
This was a wonderful section, and I was, like 2 verses, like the 15, where he says, like the glories of the holy name, even accidentally chanting the any of the names of the Lord will give us a liberation. And also the text 24, where it says, constantly chant the holy names of the Lord, and giving Krishna consciousness to others will liberate us. So this was wonderful.
Yeah, may I not be deviated from the vibrations of the Vedic hymns, right? So the last line basically, Ma Rishish. So Ma, like how we say Ma Suchaha, right? Do not fear. So let me not be deviated from this Giram, the words of the Veda, Nigamasya, Nigamasya, the words of the Vedas.
These prayers, I will be protected, then I will have no fall down. Always praying to Krishna.
Constant prayers to Krishna. Yes. And that Prabhupada, you can remember Prabhupada's mood. He's showing the perfect example. He said, I will not fall down. And then he went to a deity and said, oh, Krishna, please protect me that I don't fall down. And only by that constant prayer can we be protected. Otherwise, spiritual life is what? A razor's edge. Right? Little inattentiveness can cause great havoc. So always being cautious, being careful for spiritual journey. Remember, we are in Maya's kingdom. Okay. Anything else?
I like that you said that Brahmaji, all the prayers in Bhagavatam are nice. They can give us guidance, but sometimes we should offer our own prayers too. Like that. Stuti. In
Yes.
the text 26, the word stutva is coming.
Yes. Very nice. Actually, the Lord is pleased that, even just like a small child, he may speak to the father in broken words. But the father is so pleased that, oh, he's trying to tell me something. Similar like that. Like, we don't have any, we may not have the right mood, but still, we try to come and say a little prayer. And we personally, from our heart, offer that. Even that may be broken words or whatever. The Lord is very pleased. Right? Many times we chant prayers, we may tend to become a little mechanical in bhajan or everything. Like we should do it and try to get the mood. It's good to also invite our own prayers. Okay, nice point. Anything else?
I like the point about how when obstacles come in our seva, to see it as Krishna seeing our determination to do it, and also thinking how obstacles help us stay humble, because then we feel like, oh, I really need help, and then we pray more intensely, and that it increases that mood of dependence on the mercy of the Lord.
Very nice point. And the whole point here is that we should just more and more realize our dependence on the Lord. And for everything, I am incompetent to do any seva, anything. Right? And that Gira Swami Maharaj lecture, he makes this point. He says how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to his guru, what did he say? Murka Ami, I am a fool. I don't know anything. Right? And he said, this should be our mood. I don't know anything. Or Lord Shri Krishna or Guru Maharaj, I don't know anything. But you have given such a big, how can I do it? Like I am in first grade and you have given me an assignment for a PhD level. What can I do? But if you empower me, then it is possible. So I'm totally dependent on your mercy. Nice point. Anything else?
I like the point that Brahma is also praying for, give me both material and spiritual strength to be, good in this material world and also try to get to you, Krishna, eventually.
Because even the material duties like Brahmaji creating Marichi, that's also a part of his seva, right? So similarly, our material duties, that may be working 9 to 5 job, that's also a part of a seva. So even that we want to do, Krishna, for your pleasure. Right? So even those material duties, I'm doing it for your pleasure. So I'm completely dependent on you to give me intelligence to actually serve. So very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I like how Srila Prabhupada up to Rameshwar Prabhu. Impossible is there only in the Fool's Dictionary.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you. Pradnavati?
Yes, Prabhuji. So like Brahmaji as our Sampradaya Acharya, so he's giving a really right mood for doing the service. Like first, like we everyone think that we are not qualified to do anything, but then he's asking for the empowerment for doing any service. Then he's asking for protection from the false prestige that we shouldn't get puffed up while doing the service. Then he's asking for not to have any deviation for doing that. And then after that, he's asking for the simply for the reciprocation also, how Lord can. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Thank you for summarizing this one. So important. These four we should just keep in our mind. These 4 points. Right? Thank you. Vamshi, go.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can you please share the Giriraj Swami?
Yeah, lecture. Yeah, I'll share it.
Thank you, sir.
Units? Yeah. Long minute.
Yeah, I really like the point that even obstacles are helping us to pray more. Yeah, so it's also Krishna's mercy. Yeah, you got service, but next time if you need to get it, you need to pray more. It's good. Both are mercy.
Prabhuji, I also like the point that how Shri Shri Radha Glokananda are always reciprocating it with us with his sweet smile.
Nice. Okay. Okay, I'm just looking. So I found the lecture. I'll post this on the group. So it has both the lecture and the transcription is there. I'll just post it. Okay, so stop here. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much for your association. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay, so please everyone try to make that, if you are not doing it, every day reading Bhagavatam, every day reading Bhagavatam. Our whole purpose of this class is getting a taste to study Bhagavatam. Not one day passes where we don't connect with Bhagavatam. Okay? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.